Get back out to one of our crews today. Brittani Moncrease is in Joppy this morning. She is at one of the polling locations there. And Brittani, I'm pulling up some more details about where you're located today. I'd like to get a sense from you how the crowds look where you are as we are at the lunch hour now. Are you seeing any lines? How do things look?
So far, we haven't been seeing a lot of lines, but we've been seeing a steady flow of voters here in Joppy. We're actually outside Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church. It's been a polling place in this area for years, and so people are familiar with this particular location. We've seen a steady flow of people. It hasn't been long lines. Again, Joppy is a freedmen's town, historic freedmen's town that is just southeast of downtown Dallas. So this community, a lot of people have lived here for generations. So we're seeing a little bit of younger folks, a little bit of older folks, just a variety of people who have been coming down to vote. This community is also majority minority. So we see a lot of Black voters, a lot of Latino voters that have been coming back and forth nonstop. A good portion of those voters have been seniors, and they've been getting rides from family members over to the polls to come here and vote here at Joppy. Now, what we did hear a little while ago was that just like at the first day of early voting, there were some issues with those e-poll books. Those are the books that's used to check in residents. There are some of the system is running a little bit slower here in this location. So people do have to wait a little bit, but you don't see those long lines like we saw with the first day of early voting. We did reach out to the Dallas County Election Commission, and they did tell us that, you know, we're starting to see just a little bit of that slowness in those e-books, only because there's so many people voting. There's 455 different locations across the county where people can go and vote. And when they all are on that system at one time, and sometimes you may have an influx of people, sometimes you may not. But when you see that influx, then the system tends to run a little slower. That's what we've been told so far. We haven't heard any new information as far as the issues with those ebooks in the last, I'll say, 10 minutes or so. But just a little while ago, we did hear that some of those ebooks did have to have some kind of rebooting, and they were running a little slow. But again, the Election Commission says that that's mainly due to the volume of people that are voting today, and all the people in Dallas County are using this particular ebook. Now, this ebook is separate from the ebook from early voting. There's two different kinds. And so this one, not as many problems as the first one, but you might experience when you go to the polls some of that slowness when you're checking in.
You know, when you have problems with those ebooks, you know, Control-Alt-Delete, I hear, Brittani, is a good fix. You Control-Alt-Delete it and get it rebooted, and hopefully you fix your problems. But glad that the lines aren't too bad there, but I'm sad to hear that some folks have been running into some issues. Hopefully they've gotten that all squared away. You did mention a moment ago folks getting rides out there. We've talked about that on our air, that Lyft, I believe, is offering discounted rides to people trying to get to the polls. DART and TexRail offering some discounts or even free rides as well. You can go to our website to find out more information, but you've covered that area for quite a while, Brittani, and talked to a lot of folks there about the issues that are most important to them, what's concerning them as they head to the polls this year. What issues have been the most mentioned? What stands out when you talk to voters in that area?
So we've been coming to this area for especially leading up to elections pretty much every week and speaking with voters. And what we've learned is the big election that they're looking at is the presidential election, and that's the big focus. There's a real fear in a lot of Southern Dallas as far as who may win in this election. There's a fear it could go one way, and there's a fear that it can go another way. A lot of the voters in this area, I will say, are Democrats, tend to vote Democrat, and so there's a lot of Kamala Harris supporters in this particular area. And again, that big fear is if their particular candidate does not win, you're talking about a community like here in Joppy where people have been here for generations. So they've been here during the civil rights movement. They've been active in voting. And a lot of the other issues that are on the table, we talked to one voter who said there's so many, for example, the propositions. There's so many propositions that are on this ballot that it's hard for them to keep up. So a lot of times in this area, what we've been seeing as we go to different community events and we speak to community members is you'll find a lot of organizations, a lot of churches, a lot of sororities, fraternities, colleges who are out and really giving voter education as well as, at the time, voter registration. So you see a lot of people start to get the word out early. We've even seen some representatives come and teach some of the seniors how to use these electronic ballots, so that way there wouldn't be any confusion and they'll be familiar with the ballot as well, and to know, okay, this is what you can vote for. These are what's on the table. So a lot of times when we've been talking to a lot of residents, there has been confusion because there's a lot to vote on. But the big focus again has been the presidential election. And as I mentioned, most of the residents in this area typically vote Democratic, and so there's a real fear for them if their candidate does not win.
Well, it's interesting, Tiffany. I don't have Brittani. I don't have numbers to back this up, but it feels anecdotally like you've seen a lot of folks kind of cross party lines this cycle. Whether it's Democrats who are maybe unhappy with immigration or the economy and they're swapping sides to vote red this year, or it's folks who are Republicans who are unhappy with their candidate and are swapping to vote blue. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But you mentioned the ballot and some confusion about all the issues, all the props. I just got a sample ballot from Tarrant County, and there's a lot of stuff on here. And I know Dallas County has a bunch of potential amendments and issues to vote on as well. Props too. So here's hoping they can make it through without any issues. But appreciate your checking in with us in Joppy this morning, Brittani, and we'll catch up with you in a bit too to find out if some of those folks show up and if they have any more issues today.
Yeah, and I have to say, we just had a gentleman come just to deliver food for the poll workers, because a lot of the poll workers at this particular location, they're seniors, and so they aren't able to get away from their posts, of course, and so people have brought them food, lunch for the day. So you kind of see that community spirit here in this area.
Love that. That's one of my favorite aspects of Election Day is folks coming together to exercise their rights and their civic duties and maybe help some of those poll workers out too. Again, Brittani Moncrease in Joppy, thank you for that update.
Thank you.